Okay class, today we're going to be finding the volume of pyramid shapes. Now, as we said in class, whenever you have a cone where the bottom is a circular shape, you just need to know the area of the bottom and you can multiply it by the height of the shape. So a cone will have a radius and it will have a height. And since the base, again, is a circular shape, the area of the base is pi r squared. So your volume will sort of be pi r squared times the height, but the thing about a pyramidal shape, you're always going to have the 1/3 in there. So the volume of this cone is 1/3 pi r squared times the height. So if you're given the radius of this cone as a radius of 3 and the height is 10, you're going to get 1/3 times pi times 3 squared, which is the radius, times 10. And notice how I've written this. Everything is multiplication. If I put the 3 in parentheses, that signifies it's 3 times 10, and it's pi times 3. And because pi is right next to this 1/3, it's all multiplication. Now, doing a little algebra here, I'm actually going to spread out my 3 to a 3 times 3. And notice here, 2 of the 3's cancel, so actually I'm just going to get 30 pi, but remember, we're talking about a volume. So in this case, the final answer is 30 pi cubes. I haven't given inches or meters or centimeters, so you just have to know that we're talking about cubes. Alright, so let's say now that we have a shape where the base is a square or rectangular. Now, you still have to know that it's going to be the volume the volume of this shape is going to be 1/3, that'll always be there for pyramidal shapes, times the area of the base times the height. And so if you're given this information where the base is 4 by 4 and the height is a 5, the first thing you should do is find the area of the base, and in this case it's going to be 4 times 4, which is 16. So now I have everything I need. The volume is going to be 1/3 times the area of the base, which is 16, times 5, which is the height. And so here, doing my math, I'm going to get 80 thirds, and it's going to be that many cubes. Now, notice here, there is no pi in this answer because there's nothing circular involved here. So this here is my final answer. Alright, now here's a new situation where we have, and my drawing isn't the best, but it is a pyramid where the base is a right triangle. You're given the hypotenuse. Right here shows it's a 90 degree. So this is the hypotenuse, and this leg here is 2. So the first thing I need to do is find the area of this base. So this is the base, and in order to find this area, I'm going to have to find this leg, and then I'm going to have to multiply that leg by 2 and cut everything in half. That's how we find the volume of a 3-sided shape. That's a right triangle. And again, this here will signify it's a right triangle. And at this point, it should be this quick. You should know that this leg is going to be the hypotenuse squared minus 2 squared, which will give us the square root of 5. So now, if I want to calculate the area of the base, it's going to be square root of 5, which is this leg, times 2, all of it cut in half. So here's my math problem, square root of 5 times 2 divided by 2, and if you know your algebra, the 2's just cancel. So the area of the base is just the square root of 5. And so now to find the volume of this, it's going to be the area of the base multiplied by the 1/3, all times the height, which I have, it's a 5. So here it is here, kind of looks messy, so I'll clean it up just a little bit. And I think this is a good way to write it, 5/3 times the square root of 5. If you give me something like this on the quiz, that would be full credit. Okay, now here's where things get really tricky. Here is a cone shape with sort of this lean to it. Now it's still the same thing. The volume of this is still going to be 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. So the information given is just the radius, and then it's going to be the length of this side, but again, that is not the height. That is a angled leg here with a length of 6. The distance from here to here, that is the height. So we have to do some calculations. Now the tricky part of this problem is to redraw this triangular shape, because to calculate the height, we need to do the Pythagorean theorem with a right triangle. So in order to know this length, well, if I look up here and I notice that this is a length of 2, well, the whole length here, because this is the triangle, this triangle resembles this whole triangle, I need to know this length. Well, if the radius here is 2, then this full length here, it has to be 4. And now I'm going to calculate this leg using the Pythagorean theorem, and that will be the height of my cone. So here I get 6 squared minus 4 squared, and all of that will equal the square root of 22. And I do expect you to be able to know 6 times 6 minus 4 times 4. 36 minus 16. And of course, we're not all perfect, so it's actually the square root of 20. Made a little mistake there, but on the quiz, got to get that. So now that I have the height of square root of 20, now I need to use my volume equation to find the volume. So again, it's going to be 1/3 times the base, the area of the base. And for now, I won't fill in the r, but the area of the base is pi r squared. Remember, that's the area of a circle, times the height, which is square root of 20. So writing this out, I get 1/3 times pi times 4 times the square root of 20. Again, this is all multiplication. And so my final answer, as weird as it looks, it's going to be 4 times the square root of 20, all divided by 3, and all of this times pi. There are a couple of different ways to write this, but this one is acceptable. Alright, here we have another pyramid type shape where the base is a square. And as always, we're going to follow our formula where the volume of a pyramidal shape is 1/3 times the area of the base times the height. Again, keep in mind that the 7 is not how tall this is. The height is from this point to this point, where the 7 is from here to here. So again, we're going to have to do the Pythagorean theorem to figure out how high our pyramid is. And so over here, I've rewritten my triangular shape. And here, again, this is a right triangle. And I did signify here. Over here, I hadn't signified, but on the quiz, I will signify if this is a 90 degree. So to find the height, or this leg, this is going to be the square root of 7 squared minus 3 squared. And I do expect you to do the math on this one. You should get the square root of 40. 7 times 7 is 9, 3 times, that's 49, 3 times 3 is 9. You minus that, you get the square root of 40. So now that I know my height, the volume is going to be 1/3 times the area of the base, and if you look, it is a rectangle. The area of the base is going to be 3 times 3, which is 9. And now we just need to multiply by our square root of 40. Simplifying a little, I'm going to get 3 times the square root of 40. The 9 turns into 2 3s. We can cancel out some 3s. So, and also remember that these are all cubes. So it is 3 times square root of 40, whatever number you get there. It's that many cubes. All right, folks, there's your lesson on finding the volume of pyramid shapes.